Hello all, this is Al Finch. I am here today with a special recap of an event that I just recently attended. I am fresh off my experiences at Gen Con 2026, which took place from July 30th through August 2nd. Although for me, frankly, it lasted a bit longer than that. I actually ended up working at Gen Con this year. I was a helper at the Lamentations of the Flame Princess booth. And so for many of the people that run booths at the event, load-in begins on Tuesday and Wednesday rather than just Thursday that week. In any case, this is a fun event. It lasts nearly a full week, and there are thousands upon thousands of people that attend. Many folks come from different states. It's located in Indiana, in Indianapolis, and about 60,000 to 75,000 people attend each year. I'm going to start off with the loot that I managed to acquire and then delve a bit into my experiences, including the games that I played in and the games that I ran. First off, probably ought to point out the catalog. Some of the first loot that I ever acquire is going to be the Gen Con catalog. It doesn't list the actual games that people play much anymore, but it does go over a number of the important events and gives you things like maps, procedures, and policies that are worth exploring. And of course, they include a lot of advertisements for various Gen Con related merch. So it is well worth picking up. They have it free. The first time that you go in to say, pick up your tickets from Well Call, they'll often have these available in large stacks. They also have other items that you can pick up too. After you've acquired your ticket, you can pick up a bag, which I missed out on this year. It was a little hard to get a hold of them. They would run out from time to time, but they featured Dungeon Crawler Carl pretty prominently on the bag this year, and I think that's why it was super popular. They also have these coupon books, which give you deals when you visit the various booths. There are, lots and lots and lots of different retailers that attend Gen Con, and many of them want to make sure that you know that they're there. One of the booths that I always make sure to visit every year is the Crystal Cast booth. And they do have a coupon, but I can't show it to you because I used it. Essentially what they do is they make dice. And the dice that they hand out every year have the annual date for Gen Con. So I've been collecting these for as long as I've been going to the convention. So they're a nice little keepsake, and they're free with a coupon from this book. There are also tons of other little freebies in there. If you ever go, I encourage you to check them out. Sometimes you just run across things by accident. Somebody left one of these cool stickers at one of the event tables, and seeing as how nobody was going to be around to claim it, I went ahead and picked it up. I don't know where it's from. Maybe they were intending for the next person that came to the table just to get this cool thing, but in any case, that was yet another item that I picked up. Another freebie that I almost always get when I'm at these conventions, a copy of Knights of the Dinner Table. This long-running comic featuring a cast of role-playing game players was put out by Kinzer and Company. And I've been getting these for almost as long as I've been going to conventions. They're generous. They tend to hand out these magazines during not only Gen Con, but other events. I've attended things like Wizard World or Comic-Con in Chicago. And I've gotten free copies of this there too. They're always a hoot. Not only do they have comics in them, but they also have sometimes playing advice, different types of role-playing supplements. So if you're not aware of this, it is well worth checking these out. I always enjoy going through them in my downtime at the convention. All right, those were a lot of my major freebies that I managed to pick up. Oh, yeah, I ended up getting a couple issues this year. It was kind of fun. Let me show off other things that I acquired. I naturally picked up the newest releases at the Lamentations of the Flame Princess booth. He had a couple of new releases at the convention this year. That is James Edward Raggi IV, the publisher at Lamentations of the Flame Princess. He wrote this little booklet, The Ennui of the Deep Delving Dungeoneer. I have not read it yet, but Raggi told me about it, and yeah, I think those that run this are going to be in for a good laugh. Those that play in this may be feeling other emotions, and I'll leave it at that based on his description. It is classic Lamentations of the Flame Princess material, though, I'll give it that. He did have some giveaways at that booth as well, depending on the level of purchase that you made. In the middle of the year, maybe not the middle, the beginning of the year, he'd actually published a couple of incentives, unnamed books. So I don't have descriptions for these other than one is a zine-sized adventure, and the other is a hardback book. If you ordered from the U.S. store at a certain threshold, you would get the zine, and if you ordered from the European Union store, you would get the hardback book. And as of the release of this video, I believe both of these might still be available. So if you end up ordering from Lamentations of the Flame Princess within, a short time after viewing this video, you may get lucky and get these thrown in as a bonus. But he had those at the convention. The other big release was his Lost Carcosa by Jeffrey McKinney. What this does is it collects the original printing of Lamentations of the Flame Princess Carcosa that was released years ago at this point, along with modules that were published separately, not in the Lamentations line, by the author, that were originally described as modules called Barrens of Carcosa, Jungles of the Nanothoa, the Mountains of Dream, and, oh my goodness, the Ythlegathep Swamps. These are beautiful books with foil covers. He completely sold out at the convention, and they are beautiful pieces of work with excellent art and, volumes of information. If you want to play in the Carcosan setting, and this is a setting book, this is a worthwhile purchase, obviously aimed at adults. So, keep that in mind. Of course, if you're a fan of Lamentations of the Flame Princess, you're going to be aware of that after all. So, there we go. Those were something that I made sure to pick up as part of my trip. Other things that I actively sought out and acquired. I often will visit the Final Girl booth, mainly because they will have convention exclusives. They'll often have, for instance, unique Final Girls that are not available in the box sets. This is one actually from last year, but they had a few left over and I hadn't picked her up. Her name is Meg, and I thought it was really cool. In this particular one, she has a doggo. I'm probably guessing as her special weapon. If you play Final Girl, you're well aware that these Final Girls all come with a favored weapon, or at least most of them do. And this one, it's her dog. So yeah, it's a nice foil version there as well. I also went ahead and picked up the bonus features for Series 4. I've been collecting the entire series, and I haven't yet acquired the final one. I had to watch my budget. I know I'm going to be able to pick up, I think they released the Raptors this year, or at the convention rather. But I know I'm going to find it in stores. So I went ahead and got the bonus features, which I know sometimes are a little harder to track down for Series 4. I'll pick up the Raptors in short order once it hits my local game shops. Another thing that I acquired, I went to the Restoration Games booth. These are one of my favorite companies at Gen Con because they've always given me such good customer service. You can see here I have the Unmatched Lee Vs Ali set. And when I went up to purchase this, I was told that they apparently had discovered a misprint of some kind in the Muhammad Ali deck. So they made sure that not only did I get the regular box, but that I also got the corrected deck, which they said would be most useful to folks that are interested in tournament play. Apparently, something about these backs didn't quite work out in the regular printing. If you have managed to acquire the Lee vs. Ali set and you've noticed an imperfection or a problem with the back of your Ali cards, I encourage you to reach out to Restoration Games. They are very nice people. Every time I've spoken with them. Last year, they actively worked to get me a replacement for a game board that had been accidentally damaged. So very nice folks. They make sure that the products that you have are good quality, and they take care of you if you have any problems. And when I purchased this, I don't know if this was something that I was supposed to get separately or not, but they did go ahead and throw in some foil Muhammad Ali foil cards. I suspect there's also a Lee card in there. These are not unique, but they can be used to replace your standard non-foil cards in these games if you ever pick these up. Ah, yes, there is a Bruce Lee with a foil signature, and then Muhammad Ali card with a foil signature. So very cool. Always happy to visit their booth. They always take care of me. I encourage you to check out their games. I enjoy playing Unmatched in particular very much. All right, what else? What else? Oh, speaking of very nice people, I went to the Horrible Guild booth and was trying to seek out a copy of Similo. If you haven't played this game, this is very much like a combination in some ways, as I would describe it, maybe the code names and Guess Who. In any case, essentially you have pictures of characters and you pick one, and then you try and lead a group of people without saying anything, just by giving subtle clues using other cards. Try to lead a group of other people to guess which picture of a character you've selected. Well, at the booth, I was seeking out Similo animals, which I've been having difficulty finding. And unfortunately, when I got there, they were out. They had Similo Wonders, and the gentleman was talking to me about it. He said, oh, well, you know, we have Similo Wonders and we have these other things. I said, well, you know, that is great. My children really enjoy Similo, and you know, I'm just not sure that they would understand the Wonders set, because they're a bit young. And he's like, oh, you know what? You can teach them what the Wonders are. And he just handed me the pack for Similo Wonders. So very grateful to those folks. They, you know, were very nice in just gifting me Similo Wonders when I said I was concerned that my young ones that I work with wouldn't get it. So, you know, I think that was just top notch. And, you know, depending on when you view this, you might as well check this out. This is, I'm going to list their website as I will for all of these things in the notes. But this is a code that's good through August 16th. If you've been watching my video and you're interested in any of the Horrible Guild stuff, this is 5% off any purchase with this promo code, which is GenCon26HG. So yeah, good through August 16th if you manage to watch my video early enough. I do recommend Similo if you have youngsters in your life. It is a fun game. I enjoy it very much. Other stuff acquired, well, there's some books. MIT Press is always there. So I tend to pick up some of their volumes from time to time. In this case, a continuation of a purchase from last year. I had picked up the volume 1 of John Peterson's Playing at the World. Now I have acquired volume 2. So it's very much history of Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games that followed it. So this is something that I very much look forward to reading. Another thing that I picked up, this is something from my youth, well, at least something related to it. War Wizard by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, the original authors of classic Dragonlance. This describes a prequel to the original Dragonlance trilogy, where they focus on the lives of characters in the original Dragonlance War. This is about the wizard that was friend to Huma, the original hero in Dragonlance. And so I believe he comes to be called Magius or Magius, and is a key player in the original War of the Lance. So this is the prequel. I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I enjoyed the original Dragonlance trilogy and The Legend of Huma when I was much younger. I'm looking forward to reading this trilogy to get to know the characters better. Oh, I did manage to meet the author. At least one of them, Margaret Weiss, was at the booth, and so she was kind enough to sign the book. They also gave me a nice little map of the Empire of Solamnia, where the Solamic Knights live, key figures in Dragonlance. So that was nice. Okay, that's a lot of my acquisitions. Oh, I did stop by the consignment room and made some very happy purchases. So I managed to get some boxed games that were in excellent shape. One of the things that I picked up was this copy of Transformers, the deck building game. This is something that was put out by Renegade Games, and I was looking forward to try and pick up more material for this at the convention, but I discovered that this is going out of print. I don't know if the license is going away or if they're discontinuing it because it's just run its time. But the Transformers deck building game is going away, and they did not have material at the convention at their booth. But I did find copies in the consignment hall. I got this entire giant stack here for about $35, which is an excellent deal. But I've got to say, because this is going out of print, they are clearancing this right now on their own website. So if you're interested in the Transformers deck building game, this might be a good time to jump on before these things become hard to find. They are doing deep discounts. So while I managed to acquire this fairly cheaply secondhand, you can get many of these things straight from the company right now fairly cheaply as well. And so if you're interested in these, I encourage you to check them out before they disappear and they become hard to track down. Nothing more frustrating than discovering something years later and it just doesn't, it's out of print. Another thing that I found in the consignment store, this one was a great deal in the end. I was looking for a secondary copy of Marvel Champions. Since I enjoy playing this game, it's one of those things where if you play this, you know that sometimes you might end up having to make proxies. And so what I wanted to do is get a second base set inexpensively. So I was always looking for one secondhand so that I could use some of the cards from this to help make proxies and custom cards when I play the game. I found this in the consignment store and was overjoyed. I think it was going for like $30. I think you buy this brand new for almost 60 these days. But in any case, I had an unexpected surprise. I didn't pay close attention to the description. I just saw when I picked it up that it was near mint and unpunched. I'm like, oh, great. And then when I went in to investigate it later, I discovered that not only was it true, yes, it's unpunched and near mint, but there were a couple of bonus decks in here, which were listed. They were intended to be in there. The bonus decks that I got were Venom, which you can still track down these days. This is a hero deck that allows you to play the Flash Thompson version of Venom. And this is the real kicker, Doctor Strange. If any of you is a fan of Marvel Champions, you know that this one's currently out of print, hard to track down. I've been seeing this thing sell for around $100. And I was shocked that it was included in here. I don't know who put this in the store. It was very generous of them to include it. And I was very happy to make this purchase. So, yeah, this was probably my, other than, of course, some of the stuff that I acquired for free, this is probably my best bargain of the entire convention. All right. So, yeah, that's the loot, and quite a pile, right? I did participate in games, although that was somewhat limited because I had to spend some time supporting the Lamentations of the Flame Princess booth. But one of the things that I did get to play in was a early Marvel Champions event where they let us play with scenarios from the new box set, Fear No Evil. And the cool thing about participating in this event was, you know, not only did you get to see like the heroes and the villains out of the box set. This one featured Daredevil and Echo, and then kind of their rogues gallery like Kingpin, Typhoid Mary, and Bullseye. There we go. But if you played in their event, and I did, I chose to play with Daredevil, they give you promo cards. And the promo cards this year happen to be very cool. These things are made basically with the Daredevil deck in mind, or at least matching Daredevil art. And they're, if you know the history of the character Daredevil, they play into his character. Daredevil happens to be blind and gets his way around in the world using enhanced senses. So they handed us these special cards. They're not unique. They're things that you'll often find in their decks. They're called Strength, Energy, and Genius. But that they made these not only with unique art, all right, but also in Braille. And they are not fake Braille. The Braille is something that you can feel. It is raised and potentially usable. Although I know of no visually impaired person that can read Braille to confirm with me. I think it's really cool, all right, that they did this. And it was something that they gave out at their event. So it was a nice touch. I, by the way, when I played in this event, ended up playing solo because I ended up arriving about, I don't know, half an hour late. I was grateful folks would let me play solo. Sometimes you arrive that late and they're like, you're out of luck, there's no space. But if you ever travel to Gen Con, make sure that you arrive well ahead of time, especially if it's on that first day, on Thursday. My Marvel Champions game was 9 o'clock, right when the convention was basically opening up for that first day, and the traffic was so abominable that it took me forever to get parking. So just something to keep in mind should you ever travel to this event. It is wonderful, but it is super crowded and it is hard to navigate downtown. Oh, I overlooked something. Another acquisition. I always like to get something from like an indie RPG booth. And this was the silly thing I decided to pick up this year. It's just a pamphlet. It says, "Something is wrong with the chickens. Bryson Foods Incorporated has taken everything from us. It's time to take the fight to them. We are chickens. We are eldritch horrors. Make Bryson pay." I'm not going to show you the rest of the pamphlet because I'm sure there are folks that are trying to still market this. And it appears this is by Elliot Davis. But you know what? This was worth a laugh. It was worth the purchase. It's a very simple game. And I love it just for the slogan and the art alone. So, yeah, something is wrong with the chickens. Another fine acquisition at the con. All right, so there's a bit of my gameplay. The rest of my gameplay at the convention consisted of me running games instead of being kind of a more passive participant. I was in charge of running a handful of role-playing game sessions for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, featuring my book, Heart of the Saint. So this is a box that I use to contain a lot of the materials that I use. For this final segment here of my recap, I'd like to go over some of the materials and things that I used and a little bit of what happened during my sessions. So some of the things that you can see here in the box, things that I like to use at conventions. I just thought I would offer this up as a little bit of background. Maybe you'll find this useful if you should run games. I almost always carry extra scraps of paper so people can make name tags. Other things, of course, are miniatures. I often will play Theater of the Mind. What I will do, though, is I will bring along a handful of very differently and distinctly colored miniatures. I don't pay much attention to like what they are. This guy is like, hey, medieval spearman, and this one is, I could be a cleric with a mace. But then others are some silly things like, oh, look, it's a He-Man figure, or the Molten Man from Marvel Characters. I just make sure that I can see the color from across the table. So if people want to use miniatures, they can use them, say, to arrange a party formation, and I can easily tell which figure is which. You know, if Bob says, I am the dark green character, then I know exactly where Bob is in the formation. I don't have to remember that Bob happens to be a warrior or a lava dude or something like that. I just use the color to track them. And other things that I like to use include these Touch It cards. This is a little standalone game that I use as an in-world kind of game of skill and chance. Because I like playing with level 1 characters, they often die. So I give folks an opportunity at the beginning of my games to earn a healing potion with some risk to themselves. With the game of Touch It, what you can do is there is on the far side, or on one side, there is an image that has raised outlines. And what you do is you say, all right, we're going to play a little game. If you can guess what the image is on the other side using only your sense of touch, then I will give your character a healing potion. And if you don't guess, say you felt this one, you said, it's a goblin mask, and you discovered it was a bowl of like eldritch porridge here, Cthulhu stew, then you would actually get a random effect, which could be harmful or could be beneficial, but kind of fun. I would use a random table taken from the book called Narcosa. And what this does is it gives you random effects. I actually had 2 people at the very beginning of the game fail this in 2 separate groups. I'll get into what happened to them later, but first I want to touch on some of these other supplements. I like offering up different classes at different levels, different types of characters, sometimes odd ones. In my game, I know that some people at conventions are not going to be familiar. So what I'll often do is I will have 2 stacks of characters. I will have basic characters, things like fighters or specialists, which are very much like the rogues in traditional Dungeons and Dragons, in one pile. They're fairly easy to use. And then I'll have a stack of more difficult characters in another. What are difficult characters? Anything that might require you to either consult another set of rules to run them, things like magic users, clerics, like you have to look at spell books and look up spells. The Lamentations of the Flame Princess Bard has an entire book devoted to it. The Music of Erica Zahn is the Bard class, and they are very complicated in terms of, like, you have to navigate a bunch of dice tables in order to see what your character does with their abilities. So I always provide a stack of simple characters and more complicated characters. Sometimes I'll throw in characters that are homebrew. This is one that I used last year as well, the Meddling Grandma. People love Meddling Grandma, so I brought her back this year. Basically, she's really good, not at fighting, but at focusing people's attention on her and avoiding getting harmed. And so she's an interesting style of character to play. So yeah, I'll have a stack of different kinds of characters, some of which depend on supplements that you can only get if you play with me at the convention. This was last year's Gen Con catalog from Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and it features the sensitive character class, which the only way you can see this really is by looking at this catalog. We had accidentally discovered a pack of these left over, and so I got the okay to go ahead and use it in my game. So I'd made the sensitive available, and people were allowed to take this catalog if they didn't have a copy. At the end of every Gen Con, any catalogs that aren't handed out, and by the way, this year they handed out all of them, they're often destroyed, and they have unique gaming material. So it's kind of cool that I was able to share that with people, even though this is no longer something that's easily available. I kind of lucked into it. I also allowed people to use character class from this year's catalog. This one, it was pretty cool in that it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different kind of mini supplements, like little adventures or encounters, including one by me. I wrote up something called BFG. It is not the big friendly giant. It is something else, something distinct. But one of the other ones was called Boom by Glenn Seal. And Boom has a character class associated with it. Something called the Shunned. A unique character class where you have contracted a disease called divine leprosy. I gave people the option of playing the Shunned class as well, and a couple people took me up on it, and that actually impacted our gameplay. So that was fun, but exclusive, right, and available nowhere else other than this catalog, at least for now. If people, by the way, took the Shunned class, what I would have them do is it allowed them to do some kind of cool stuff on second level. So I allowed them to power up their character because the Shun class comes with some major drawbacks too. Usually, again, I only play first level characters. If you were playing Shunned, you got to be a level 2 Shunned in my game. But I had them roll this die, which I've been dying to use. And what it is a list of different body parts. And so if they accepted the deal where, hey, if you play the Shunned class, then you get to start at a higher level, but you also start out with visible or potentially invisible sores, right? So I would have a person that accepted the Shun class roll this twice, and if they were the unfortunate soul that rolls full body, they have visible sores all over their body, which literally would make them an outcast in their society. So their character had to run around completely covered, full shrouded, just so that they could interact with other people without them like running away in terror, right? Remember, the default setting for Lamentations of the Flame Princess is Renaissance period Europe. People that had leprosy were not allowed really to interact in society, and so it was kind of a fun idea that this creator had. What if an adventurer had leprosy? And there are benefits to it. Some kind of shocking and funny, like if you are being imprisoned and your hands have been cuffed, you could potentially just have your hand drop off and escape. But yeah, in any case, that was an interesting thing. Here is the book that contained the adventure that I ran. It's called Heart of the Saint. In this one, they would have basically a scavenger hunt to find body parts of a saint that they believed that if they collected enough parts, they would be able to resurrect and thwart an invasion of otherworldly ghosts. I ran 3 sessions of this, and I was proud to show off something by my artist. Lucille LaChance actually gifted me a stained glass version of the heart that she had made for herself. So I used this as my prop during the game to represent the actual heart of the saint that people were interacting with in the game. I had a bit of a scare with this at the convention. By the time my third game rolled around, I had misplaced this, and I thought I'd lost this forever, right? This is a unique piece by the actual person that did the art for this book. But I was fortunate in that I found it had been misplaced at home and not at the convention center. So that was a great relief. So yeah, this was fun to share with everyone. I don't get too many opportunities to play Lamentations games these days. It's nice to do it with people that I don't know, so I can maybe gauge their honest reactions. Something that got a lot of interest that I should probably mention by the players. Many of them really liked these little illustrated packs. These were things that I like to give them so that they can kind of visualize the kind of tools that they have. Depending on which character class you played, you would get one of these packs here. They're called the Better Legends Illustrated Equipment Packs. And I will provide a link in the notes. They had asked me where I had gotten them from earlier at the event, and I could not remember. So now, hey, if you follow me, you now know where to find these at if you enjoyed using them. Also had other folks ask me about these character sheets. These were made by a fan some years ago, and I believe it originally appeared on like G+, but I have found a link to an extant version of this, and I'm also including this in the notes. I will agree, these are excellent character sheets if you play Lamentations of the Flame Princess. They have a really nice layout that makes it really easy to navigate, special skills and combat and things like that. How did the games go? How was the gameplay? Well, in the 3 sessions, compared to last year, I consider this an improvement and a resounding success. Heart of the Saint, all right. I had 3 sessions with 6 available seats per session. My first 2 sessions completely filled and everyone showed up. And my final session, which was on the last day, I had 4 out of 6 people show up. So I was very pleased with the participation level. Last year, I had 1 complete no-show. Another year or another session, I had a single person show up, which I went ahead and ran the game for them, and then 1 full session. But it was great this year to have essentially full parties for each session. With each session, they did play out very differently, and I think everyone had a good time, and I think we all had very different groups, so they took the games in different directions. One session ended up being very combat-oriented, where they ended up engaging with pirates. Another session was very much more lighthearted, kind of a slapsticky heist that took place in a church. And then the final session, that one ended up playing out much like a little murder mystery with a big reveal at the end. I'm not going to share any more details, but I will say I greatly enjoyed running these sessions. I expect that if I go back to Gen Con, and chances are pretty high that I will, I'll continue running my adventures for those that are interested. I don't know if I'll run Heart of the Saint again next year or something else. That's for the future. All right, folks, that's it for now. I believe I've finally shared all of my grand loot and all of my various adventures. There were other cool things that happened to me, but boy, I'm still recovering. I'm still tired. This, I think, is a good place to stop. I hope you enjoyed kind of my review of my experience at the convention, cool things that I acquired and the cool things that I did. Did you attend? Do you hope to attend? Hey, share your experiences or your hopes in the comments. I will happily read them and respond as they show up. Ta-ta for now.